Welcome, everyone, to the Pint and Click podcast. My name is Caleb.
And my name is Greg.
And we're going to talk about your favorite video games. So grab a pint of your favorite drink, find a nice comfy chair, and tune your Pip-Boy to Diamond City Radio as we dive into
God,
this.
my favorite channel.
Diamond City Radio. It's probably the best channel.
Is that the one that plays like, I don't want to set the world
Greg,
on fire?
That might be all of them, but yes.
I'm pretty sure that's the only song in those games. All of the Fallout games.
That's true. Okay, well, you know what's funny, though? This is some fun trivia, some fun music trivia for our listeners.
Okay.
That song is by the band The Ink Spots, and the Ink Spots start all of their songs with the same little intro. It's the doom, 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 doom. They do it every single song.
Which I would have thought of as more of a Fallout thing.
Yep, nope, that's just the Ink Spots, a band from the 50s. I guess, I think late 40s, actually, and then early 50s.
Wild.
I don't know. But, yeah, they start all of their songs like that. So you've definitely heard, if you've listened to Diamond City Radio, you've definitely heard 5 different Ink Spot songs that all start the same way.
It make you think that they're the same song.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's not... I just thought that was only one song, but it's actually, just all of their songs.
So, you know what's funny about that is that's such an actual thing, all right? This is a real thing. I'm not making this up. That's such a thing that there's another song from, I think, the 50s or maybe 60s that references that bit in their song. One of the lyrics goes something about and you know it's the Ink Spots when you hear this tune, and then the song breaks and they do the Ink Spots intro and then they keep going again.
Now, I like the alternative, Caleb, that you are completely making all of this up.
I know, I could be. What do you believe, Greg?
Caleb, with you, I don't know what to believe. But I will say, I want to thank you and our mighty audience out here for joining me here today. This is the inaugural meeting of the Ghost Dog Appreciation Society.
Excuse me?
I'm Greg. I'm the president of what we know as the GDAS.
I'm Caleb. I'm an alcoholic. Oh, sorry, wrong kind of meeting.
Now, as you all know, Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai, is a 1999 martial arts crime film written and directed by Jim Jarmusch.
I love him.
This film is starring Forrest Whitaker with a killer soundtrack by RZA of Wu-Tang Clan fame.
Wow.
Yes. Now, Ghost Dog is a criminally underrated movie that you can't find on streaming services and is so rarely talked about that it faces the bleak possibility of going extinct.
Revive it.
And that's why we gather here today, to talk about this great film, and in doing so, hopefully spread the word to keep this movie alive. Now, there may be a few of you among us that really don't know what Ghost Dog is. So let me quickly recap. Ghost Dog, the character, Forrest Whitaker, who it's played by, lives the life of an American hitman, but follows the code of the samurai. He is instructed to kill a mob member who is having relations, we'll say, with another mob member's daughter. Ghost Dog goes through with this killing, but the daughter is there, so there's a witness. To avoid being tied to the murder of a made man, the guy who sent Ghost Dog to kill the mobster, a man named Louis, who Ghost Dog feels he is indebted to, and does all of his bidding because of that. So Louis and his associate, Sonny Valerio, decide that they have to get rid of Ghost Dog, off him, if you will. This presents a challenge for them, as Ghost Dog only communicates with Louis via homing pigeon.
Wow.
Homing pigeon, Caleb.
Yep.
I know you were a homing pigeon fan.
I like those pigeons. What can I say?
Mm-hmm. So it's one of the best parts of the movie. Ghost Dog has a whole collection of pigeons, on a rooftop in New York, New Jersey, wherever they are. So the rest of the film is just you following Ghost Dog as he goes about his life while being hunted by the mob.
Wow.
It's a great movie. It's a little bit out there and far, it's not mainstream, beat for beat what a mainstream movie would be. And in a lot of ways, there are so many moments in this film that are heartwarming and funny, amidst the like traditional violence of a samurai movie or like a crime movie, which is like this film is a cross between the two in many ways.
Yep.
If you haven't seen this movie, I want to thank you for coming to the Ghost Dog Appreciation Society. And now that you know about it, you need to immediately change the fact that you haven't seen it, because it's probably my favorite film, and it's just such a good time from start to finish.
And did you say it's not on any streaming platforms?
Last I knew, it is not on any streaming platforms.
Well, Greg, I'm here to tell you that we revived it.
We've done it?
It's done.
Oh my God.
It is on Max.
It's on... No.
Yep, which was formerly HBO Max, and now has combined with something else to become Max.
This is great news.
It is pretty good news.
Caleb, we got the GDAS together one time.
One time,
And we
it
fixed
worked.
the problem.
I know. And while I'm on here, I'm looking at some other great movies. We're not sponsored by them, but we should be. They got some great movies on here.
Okay. What else they got, Caleb?
A lot of Clint Eastwood movies. I'm a Clint Eastwood fan. I
Okay.
love old westerns. Unforgiven. Oh, they've got some good ones.
Interesting.
Oh, they got Dirty Harry.
I specifically... I brought this movie to the podcast today because I was reminded of it through someone else talking about movies that are very underrated and like not talked about a lot, so they kind of fall to the wayside.
Yep.
But also, Caleb, I think this movie is absolutely something you should watch.
Really?
I think you'd vibe with it.
That's awesome.
It's like part samurai, part mob movie.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
I highly recommend it. I'm not a super movie buff or anything, but this movie speaks to me deeply, and there's one scene in it featuring a boat that it's my favorite scene in the whole film.
Greg, are you talking about the boat scene?
The boat scene.
Oh my goodness. The boat scene?
The boat
You're bringing
scene.
that up? Oh my god.
I know it's raunchy. No, I don't think it is, but it's a great
It's
scene.
grotesque.
It's just downright violent. So, anyway, Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai. It can be watched with your good friend Max.
Nice. Invite him over.
Get Max over.
Make him some stew.
Press his buttons.
Yeah.
Watch Ghost Dog.
Watch it.
Yeah.
You better watch
You
it.
better watch it.
Yeah. Nice. That was a successful meeting.
A great meeting of the Ghost Dog Appreciation Society.
Yeah. I'm glad we could all come together as a group
Mhm.
like this.
Now, I ask you, Caleb.
Yeah.
Have you watched any good movies lately?
No.
No. Any TV? Any media?
I'll tell you what. For TV, Maddie and I have been watching Hell on Wheels, which we've talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
Great show. We're both loving it. I've seen most of the show before anyways, but it's been so long that I forgot what happened mostly. So we've been watching that. It's been really great. But if you want to talk about movies here, I haven't watched any recently, but there is one movie that I'm going to see it, and I'm going to see it in theaters too, which as somebody that does not go to the movie theaters that often, is a big deal, you know? That is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Mm-hmm. That's where they make Harrison Ford young again.
That's where they put him in the fountain of youth.
Uh-huh.
Yep, make him young, keep him fresh.
Whoop. Whoop.
Oh,
Caleb, you're tiptoeing into a territory that I don't want to be in right now.
It's pretty insane though. Harrison Ford has got to be in his like 70s, 80s now.
Harrison Ford is 115.
He is 3,000 years old.
Harrison Ford predated the Big Bang, actually.
But yeah, he's just old, and this is his last Indiana Jones movie. Maybe even last movie. Who knows what's going on with him?
No kidding.
And especially where I'm too young to have seen like Raiders in theaters and stuff. It's cool that I'll at least get to see another Indiana Jones in theaters. I did see Crystal Skull.
Mm-hmm.
I did see that in theaters, and that was not good. But I have high hopes for this movie. It sounds like they're stepping away from alien territory. And I'm pretty excited for this.
There's always something cool about when you can experience a big franchise like this that has so much history in theaters.
Yeah.
Like, I felt the same way when the new Star Wars movies came out. Like, say what you will about quality or plot or blah blah blah. We all know, like, I know plenty about Star Wars. I think I proved
say what
that
you will,
last week.
But Adam Driver is a goddamn hunk.
It was just so good to see that man's muscles on the big screen.
Ben Swallow.
But so what? Like, I went and saw at least or at least one, probably 2 to 3 of the newer, the prequels. There we go.
Yep.
In theater, but I was kind of too young to enjoy it.
Yep.
So it was really cool when they made the new movies, especially like New Hope. No, what's the one between
Force
Rogue
Awakens?
One?
Oh, Rogue One. Yeah,
Rogue One was real enjoyable. But like seeing that stuff on the big screen is really cool.
Oh yeah,
like,
despite any feelings I have towards the new movies,
the effects
I still remember
and, like, just the art of it all is really great.
No, I still remember when we all sat down in the theater for The Force Awakens, and it was like opening week, and man, there were tons of people. Like, the theater was packed, and I remember as soon as the Star Wars logo came on with the iconic music, I remember like literally the whole theater was like actually cheering for the movie.
Yeah,
it was really fun. Everybody was clapping and like, woo! It was great.
Yeah, another thing that I've thought about multiple times recently is I think if I was born 30 years ago, I would like big action movies more than I currently do.
Okay.
I think we were born, and maybe this is just maybe I should just speak for myself, but I feel like I was born at a time where CGI and all the digital ability to make huge effects and whatnot was so readily available that I never fully appreciated like the massive scale it takes to make that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can understand that. I
think if I was around more for a time where like they had to do that stuff practical, I think I would have really appreciated how like practical effects, how much like thought and effort it took for that. And then seeing the digital stuff grow, I just think I would have had more of an appreciation for that kind of stuff. I think because I was young and Star Wars and Fast and the Furious and all these movies that were doing huge action set pieces already existed or like were happening at the time. I just never fully grew an appreciation for these big set pieces that draw people to watch action movies in theaters and whatnot.
Yeah, I can somewhat relate. Like, if I mean, there's still, and it could just be nostalgia too, but there's still some movies, like if Star Wars Episode 3 went to theaters again, you better believe I'd have a front row seat to that.
Yeah, I would love to experience all of those, like the original trilogy and the prequels again in theater.
Oh yeah, that would be even more insane for me, watching the original trilogy.
Yeah.
That shit would be cool. I mean, I don't know. I'm one of the very few people on this planet that probably prefers some of the prequels, I guess. Like, I don't know. My favorite
You're
Star
of
Wars
that
movie is...
age, and I like...
Well, yeah, and I think it also comes too from, like, my brother and I have always had an appreciation for the prequels, because, like, no matter how much George Lucas shit on things, like, they're still quality movies,
you guys just love Jar Jar Binks. You can
Dude,
say
we love Jar Jar Binks. Actually, Greg, this is a fun fact for you. I don't know if we've talked about this before. The actor for Jar Jar Binks, I believe his name is Ahmed Best.
Okay.
He when he played Jar Jar Binks, this is gonna get sad first.
Oh no.
But when he played Jar Jar Binks, this is real. He actually got tons of like death threats and like everybody hated him. And he received tons of hate and like I remember there was an interview he did where he was talking about how like he hates his life and wishes he never took that role. But that was years ago when the prequels came out. And now as time's gone on, everybody has come to like appreciate the prequels. And now he's getting at least a little bit more praise. But most recently, Disney in the Mandalorian series actually gave him a role where he got to play a Jedi.
Oh, wow.
And he said it was like a dream come true. And I'm happy for the boy. I'm glad he's out of that rut. You know what? Jar Jar Binks wasn't a great character, but you can't blame the actor for that. He did a damn good job as Jar Jar Binks. He made him believable, you know? You wanted to punch that little alien in the face, didn't you?
Well, I mean,
So-
he was the main antagonist of the prequels, as
He
we all
was.
know. I don't even think we have to discuss that. I think we
Yeah.
just all know that to be self-evident.
Yeah, Darth Jar Jar, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen Jar Jar's Jar Jar Jar?
I don't think I have.
Oh, okay. It's it's a little game. JonTron talked about it once.
Oh, maybe.
Jar Jar's Jar Jar Jar.
I think when you said JonTron, it made it kind of click. I think I have seen.
There's just a bit in his Starcade
Yeah,
episode where
yeah.
he says that, and then it cuts to a clip of Jar Jar trying to open a jar with a little Jar Jar inside.
Oh
No.
my gosh. It's peak comedy right there, actually.
It is.
If you say a
But-
word enough, it's funny.
But anyways, yeah, so yeah, I get you where you're coming from though. I think there's certain action movies. Like I don't like watching action movies for the sake of them just being dumb action movies.
Yeah.
Like I'll never get into the Fast and Furious movies. Nothing against them. I feel like they're just over the top for the sake of being over the top, and I don't know. I just don't have an interest in that.
Now, I believe I talked a couple of weeks ago, potentially, about the John Wick movies.
Yes, yep.
Which are just action movies for the sake of being action.
Yep.
But what I think those movies do that's so different is they use basically just the camera to create stunning shots that really represent the movie well.
Well, and there's something to be said for that too. Like, you can have an action movie that's made just for action, but you can also have an action movie with style in it. And I think that changes things.
And like, I think they basically look at John Wick as like almost the antithesis of the big action movies, because there aren't just huge explosions and this and that for the sake of it. It's just
Right.
like a really well stylized. They use composition of their shots well. They use color really well. And then they just have Keanu Reeves being Keanu Reeves and doing these ridiculous like martial arts shooting sequences that don't need a lot of extra CGI or effects to make really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So again, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Watch John Wick and Ghost Dog.
And play Jar Jar's Jar Jar Jar.
Jar Jar. I like the idea of you're losing like the placement of accents. Jar.
Listen,
R.
You kind of do though when you start to say it. It's too much. It's a mouthful.
It's
Jar Jar's
too
Jar Jar
much.
Jar.
Jar. We turned. I'm glad we got a little movie corner in this episode. I didn't expect
Yeah.
it to take that turn, but as goes the Pint and Click podcast, as goes America.
Yep.
Yep.
Just another day here.
I do have one exciting piece of not personal life, but gaming news of my own setup.
Nice.
Those words made no sense in that sentence. What happened is I recently was talking about how tough it is to do stuff that isn't play Steam games on the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Well, I got myself basically a PC conversion for my Steam Deck.
Oh.
What I did was I got this dock that plugs right into my Steam Deck.
Yep.
And it's got USB, it's got HDMI, and a couple other, but I don't really use. And I also got a keyboard that is a USB keyboard
Nice.
that has a little trackpad. So I basically can just hook my Steam Deck up to my TV, control it with the keyboard and trackpad, and it's basically a computer at this point.
Nice.
It's made it so much easier to do things that I was previously not being able to do.
Now, my question for you, can you now access games that aren't Steam Deck compatible?
So Steam Deck compatibility is a tough thing. It's the games that are like green compatible in the Steam Deck app.
Yep.
So okay, we might be talking about two separate things there. Do you mean like Epic games, or do you mean
No, I just mean, like, because I know that, like, there's certain Steam games I've seen that, like, say, like, not compatible with Steam Deck.
Yeah, so Steam Deck
Um,
compatibility is basically like a rating system that they use.
Gotcha.
And green just means that in the time they've tried it, it works pretty much flawlessly.
Yep.
It works flawlessly. A yellow means like, well, it pretty much works, but you might come into a hiccup here or there, and they'll often provide details like the text is a little small for the small screen, and that's not a big deal.
Right.
I mean, in the grand scheme of it, like, it will still play fine. And then there's, like, the games that they say don't run super well, and
Yep.
those are still, like, I mean, they're going to be, they're going to not work well regardless, probably because they have something to do with the, like, just the way that the Steam Deck converts them to Linux, because they're basically running them through, like, either Proton or Wine to make the Windows application work on Linux. So, like,
I see.
and then there's the ones that are just like complete question marks, like we haven't tested it, and those are the ones that they're like, well, you kind of have a toss up here.
Okay, so I think, yeah, so I think I have a misconception then. So realistically then, any game you can potentially play on the Steam Deck. It just depends how well it functions.
Yeah, for sure.
I see. Okay, because that's where I was getting confused. I assumed that there were certain games that they approved, and then others that, like, you just literally could not access.
To my knowledge, most games you will at least be able to try to play them.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I think there are some that just don't work well with Steam Deck in the way that they've got that set up.
Okay. Yeah. No. What I was gonna say is, so even with your thingamajiggy, it still depends on, like, how well the Steam Deck will run it. It's not necessarily
Right. I didn't make any
like,
upgrade. I didn't make any like computational upgrades to it.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't know if the deck had, like, a purpose of, like, increasing performance or anything or what. So okay, that makes sense.
You can crack it open, but I would never, because anything hardware related that I touch with the intention of modifying is bad.
Your battery blew up one time.
I exploded a battery in your parents' house.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that.
But
there was smoke.
Yeah, there was smoke. It was not good. But what you gonna do? We didn't burn the place down.
No.
No.
We put it in a Walmart bag, actually.
We put it in a bag and put it on the porch.
Yep.
Yeah, solved it.
Solved.
So now, like, the biggest thing I've been able to do is play, like, games from the Epic Game Store, because the issue I was running into was just, like, navigating the desktop mode instead of the, like, Steam user interface.
I see. Okay. Yep.
So getting some legally acquired games is now easier, and editing things to make them run now works.
Yep.
Like, I've got Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD running, and boy do they run good.
Nice.
Shockingly good.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I spent my weekend, actually, most of the game, I played 2 games this weekend, a majority of. One of them was Wind Waker HD.
Was the other Twilight Princess?
The other was Death Stranding.
Ooh.
The duality of man on that one, Caleb.
Some Norman Reedus.
I don't know why, but that game finally kind of got its hooks into me.
Is it Norman Reedus?
It's Norman Reedus.
Oh,
No, I think it's
God.
just like watching Hideo Kojima's mind on a screen and just being fascinated by it, and, like, just so puzzled that you're like, I just have to keep going to figure out what is happening.
Yep.
Not even story-wise. Like, the story, you can understand the basic beats, but most of it's unintelligible.
Yep.
You know, like, it's just like, how does this man's mind work? But, like, just watching it unravel, the graphics of the game are so good, I would say. I would say they're good. It's just fascinating. It's like you have to keep Norman Reedus balanced while he delivers packages.
Now, this is a genuine question, too, because I only know him from The Walking Dead. How's his performance? Like, is he a believable character in a game?
I haven't gotten a lot of... I mean, I'm probably 2.5 hours into the game.
Yep.
He's been pretty mute as a character.
Oh, that's a negative for me. Give me more Ritas, please.
More morning Ritas, please. I butchered that in every way. But, I mean, the couple of lines he has delivered have been, like, fine.
Yep.
You know, but he's very much this Sam... it's Sam Bridges, but there's Porter. Sam Porter Bridges is a pretty muted character.
Yep.
He doesn't like being touched. Doesn't like it at all.
Don't touch him.
Don't touch him.
Don't touch him.
And he's the president of... Caleb.
The United States.
Yes, but... Okay, let's do this. Impromptu new segment for the podcast.
Okay.
Greg explains Death Stranding's plot. I want to see how much of this I can explain.
Okay, here we go.
Start the game. You're playing as Sam Porter Bridges.
Okay.
You're delivering a package. The rain comes, and you have to get into a tunnel, not a tunnel, but a place, a cavern where you're not going to get hit by the rain because the rain makes everything that it touches accelerate in time.
Okay, I'm lost. You've lost me.
Me
okay.
too.
So rain as in like normal rain from the sky?
It appears like water.
Okay.
Is it actually normal water rain? I don't know.
But it makes things accelerate in time?
It makes things get older.
So does the ground and stuff get older?
No, ground doesn't age.
Well, I think that's an error right there.
Caleb, the ground doesn't have a birthday. Don't be ridiculous.
But what about the soil?
So, you find out that the rain makes age.
Okay, wait, is it just age? So, like, it doesn't make things like, okay, so if it hits a tree, the tree doesn't grow.
Caleb, you're poking plot holes in Mr. Reedus's fine film.
Listen, this is blasphemy, okay? I'm sorry. You're telling me that water makes things age, but the trees, they don't grow. They're fine. The grass doesn't get taller.
I don't think it's
only
actually
people.
Rain. I think they call it time something.
Okay, but it only affects people.
People, a picture got a drip of it on it, and it got all gray and gross.
Because, okay, but trees are fine.
But trees, I don't know if I've seen a tree in this game, Caleb.
Oh, there are no trees.
I'm not sure I've seen a tree.
Okay,
see,
this changes things. Okay, that would explain it. Do the rocks crumble?
Rocks don't crumble.
Okay, then what are we doing here?
So you have this happen. There are weird little things on the ground that you can't see them, but they make little hand marks as they crawl towards you, and you got to be quiet. You don't want to breathe when they're doing that.
Where does the baby come in?
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
There's this lady that helps you not get eaten by the invisible hand people.
Yep.
And I believe that is part of the Stranding.
Oh.
And they're some sort of people that have power that can see these weird mystery creatures, but Sam Porter Bridges can only kind of see the hand marks and whatnot because he's not a full one of these people.
Can you imagine being the man to sit down and think, Metal Gear Solid isn't weird enough?
Yeah, no, it's...
What is this?
Go further. So, you deliver your first packages. They tell you that the President of the United States wants to see you because the President of the United States is Sam Porter Bridges' mom.
Okay.
So then you go see her. She's dying. She's old and dying.
Okay.
She tells you you need to go get your sister. You go get your sister. The president dies.
Who is also your mom.
Your sister becomes the president.
Oh my god.
So you're actually Sam... Wait.
President.
Strand. No, the Stranding... wipe out what I said about the Stranding earlier.
Okay.
The Strand comes in. He's Sam Strand. And the presidents are Strands.
Oh.
And then the death...
Wait, is that his name?
No, his name's Sam Porter Bridges.
Okay.
But he's named that because he's a porter, which means he carries packages around.
Yep.
And he works for a company called Bridges.
Ah.
So I think his birth name is Sam Strand.
Okay.
Yeah. And the head of Bridges, the company, is Die Hardman.
No, that's a joke.
Nope, that's a serious.
Oh my god.
Caleb, do me a favor and Google Die Hardman.
I'll do just that.
Die Hardman is a man with a mask that is the owner, the person that runs the Bridges company, who are the ones that send you out to go be a porter, and your name is Sam.
And he really likes the movie Die Hard.
Yes, Kojima does.
Yeah.
That's why he named him that.
Okay, I'm seeing him. Yep.
And as of the time that I've played, that is the story of Death Stranding.
You haven't gotten to the baby yet?
Oh, the baby. Yes, the baby. I don't remember how you first acquire the baby. Oh, you go on a mission with this guy. You're trying to bring a dead body to a place to incinerate it, because if you don't incinerate this infected dead body, it's going to explode and create a crater.
Okay, hang on. Fuck this. For realsies, okay? Looking at different sources online, they're all saying the same thing. He's named Die Hardman because it's a reference to Die Hard.
I told
one of
you,
Hideo
Kojima
Kojima's
loves the movie.
favorite films.
I'm not
I thought that was
lying.
bullshit.
No.
That is stupid.
Caleb, I haven't lied once.
That's ridiculous. Can you imagine me naming a character Star Wars Jim in a game? Like, what the fuck?
I haven't lied once is the funny part about this.
Oh yeah, that's the good, the bad, and the ugly Ted over there.
Oh yes, Ghost Dog Tom. So, the baby, Caleb.
Okay.
Please
tell
don't
me
distract
about
me
the
from
baby.
the baby.
What's its name? Tell me its name first.
Doesn't have a name. It's just a little battery guy.
Is it Battery Baby?
Battery. It's actually Die Hard Baby. So you're doing a mission with a guy. We're trying to bring this body to be incinerated because it's infected with the death. That might not be the name of the infection. But what happens is, by the time the timer on this dead body goes off, which isn't an actual timer, but it explodes and creates a crater, and it's real bad.
Okay.
But we get attacked by these hand things with this guy, and he's using the baby to try and ward him off. The baby's like a little battery pack. And then after the failed attempt to ward all these off, Sam Porter Bridges dies. But because of the aforementioned powers of seeing the handprints, he comes back to life.
I don't think this is a game I'm going to be playing.
Caleb, it's awful. And it's great.
It just, man, it sounds like, I don't know, man. It sounds too strange.
And so you take the baby from the guy. Once you wake up, they're trying to dispose of that baby because it doesn't work like a good battery baby should.
Yeah.
But Sam has an attachment to this baby, so he takes it and keeps it for himself.
Greg, I'm reading here that the baby's name is One Piece after his favorite anime.
Caleb, you're making that up.
I am making that up, but isn't that believable, though? You tell me it's not, and I'll tell you you're a fucking liar, all right?
So, I've done my best to explain the plot of Death Stranding, but that's not the fun part of Death Stranding.
Yeah, of course not.
The fun part of Death Stranding is
the friends you made along the way.
Trying to figure out what the game mechanics are supposed to be. Because you're just walking around bringing stuff from place to place.
Yeah.
But it's rocky. And you gotta hold the trigger buttons to balance. And it's like, I just don't understand where this is supposed to go. I think I've been intrigued more than having fun, is what I'm starting to realize.
Yeah. Yep.
But anyways,
I think I'm starting to realize that, man, Hideo Kojima's just like a mad scientist, just making shit, huh? He finished the main quest so long ago.
Yeah,
all of this
he
shit
made
is
all
just
his money on
quest.
Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I got this game for free from the Epic Game Store, so it's been worth it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way I would play it, is if I got it free.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would pay money to play something that came out of some man railing lines of angel dust while building a video game.
There is something very good about the value proposition of a free game that makes you just like, well, why would I put it down? It's free.
Yeah. I'm a little bit of the opposite, if I'm being honest. I see it and I'm like, oh, I have all the time in the world to get to this game eventually because I got it for free. And then I end up just not playing them.
I think it's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
I think it can go both ways, but once you've started the game, it's like, why should I stop? It's free. I don't know. I can't think of why I've continued playing this game, is really what I'm saying. I think
Dude,
I need medical help.
I can tell you, it's Norman Reedus. The boy's just so beautiful.
The boy is beautiful.
And he's got that voice that's just, it's crunchy, you know? It sounds like he's crunching rocks. You want me to carry that baby? That's him. That was a perfect impression.
Norman, are you on the call?
Yeah, it's me. That's him. Norman, nice to have you.
Norman, thanks for coming. Tell me, do you plan to be in Death Stranding 2?
I love Die Hard. Oh, sorry.
No, that's... No!
Oh my god, get Norman on the show. We need him on.
Let's make a social media ad campaign to get Norman on the show.
Norman on Pint and Click.
Caleb just added it to his goal board.
Yeah, wrote it down.
Wrote
my
it in
big
the
old
Trello.
board. Yeah. I'll make sure we have a bucket of rocks for him to munch while he's over here.
He doesn't have to. He just enjoys it.
He likes it.
It's not for nutrition, certainly.
Yeah. Well, that when they were making Death Stranding, they asked, hey, do you want us to put plants and trees and shit in the game? And he was like, no, just rocks.
Only rocks.
So
that was the one request he made.
Yeah, so
that was the only request in the
born.
entire game was just rocks, please.
Yeah. Well,
Caleb, I feel like this has been a very very me-centered episode. You got any thoughts on the world of video games?
Yeah. I'll talk. I'll do a little talking.
All right.
Okay, so here's the thing. I've been playing 2 games recently, all right? I've prepped my 2 topics of the day, even though I knew we were kind of doing more of our loose format here. I wanted to still just bring them. I've been playing Fallout 76. Here's the thing, okay? We don't need to talk too much about this. I feel like anybody that's heard of it knows about it. But some things to say about it real quick. It looks like Fallout. It sounds like Fallout, but it's not Fallout. No. The radio's decent. It's fun. You know,
does it have
that's a given.
The Lily Noopers?
It does have the ink spots.
Thank you.
You were close there. The environment's cool. Locations are cool. The big elephant in the room here is the game was built with no NPCs, right? And that just, man, it sucked the life out of the game. And they made quests they just handled them in such a shitty way, because now there were no NPCs to give you quests. So all of the quests in the game you got through finding holotapes and listening to distress signals where there's no NPCs waiting for you at the end. And it's just handled in such a piss poor way that it makes the game feel just unrewarding. There's no reward to doing anything for me. And then when they put in the NPCs, it was already so far into the game that the NPCs feel stiff and clunky and I don't know, all around bad design. The guns, which I feel is the core of Fallout, right? Gunplay and stuff. They feel good, and the sounds that they make are really cool. I feel like they've upped it from Fallout 4. I feel like some of the gun sounds are pretty improved. But I say that. But then they put these level requirements on guns and equipment, so it doesn't matter. You can go out and find the best gun in the game day one, but if you're a level 3 and the gun you found is a level 128, guess what? You got that many levels to go before you can use it, bud. So it's just dumb. The outfits are the one cool thing of the game that I actually appreciate a lot. They give you outfits that you can wear, but unlike Fallout 4, they're not specific to taking armor and not taking armor. Instead, armor and outfits are 2 different things. So with outfits, you can wear whatever you want at any given time, and then you can still wear armor on top of it. It just doesn't show your armor.
Weird.
But it counts as your stats.
There's something about that game and ESO that I get it that they have to shift it to some extent. It can't feel exactly like the single player games. Obviously, that makes sense, you know. But there's something just so off and weird about those games. It's undescribable to me. Yeah.
Did you like me speed running my list about things?
I did.
I really tried to talk fast. I have 3 more things. First off, no. I think the problem is nobody wanted an MMO. People wanted an online co-op game, but that I don't think I heard a single person tell me before ESO came out. I don't think I heard anybody, none of my friends ever said, "Oh, wouldn't Skyrim be cool if we were thrown into a lobby with 100 other players?" No, what I heard was it would be cool if they let us play together.
Yeah,
That does not imply huge servers with 24 to 100 players, you know?
and it's just who I am as someone who plays games, a lowercase g gamer. But I can't. I always think I want to be in big lobbies where I can just encounter other people in like a fantasy setting or any sort of setting like that. I don't want that.
No,
I
get
never
you.
want it.
Yeah, I get you 100%. I'm the same exact way. I remember when I first got Fallout 76, none of my friends had it yet, but I was like, oh, it's fine. I'll go make friends online. And then I got into the world and, like, I just didn't want to do it. Yeah, I don't know. I think the way they handled everything, like, it's bare bone. And there are, like, huge fundamental differences when it comes to a multiplayer game and then an MMO, you know? Because you can have an RPG that's 1 to 2 players and handle it a lot like Skyrim. But instead of doing that, Bethesda opted for building ESO, which was not at all like Skyrim, because now you have, like, I don't know. As a whole, I really dislike MMOs. I think they are boring cash grabs of games. And like even without the cash grab part, I feel like they're just boring, and I feel like they're more time wasters than anything. Like honestly, if I had to pick between playing an MMO for the rest of my life and playing Minesweeper, I might be more inclined to pick Minesweeper.
Caleb, don't get me
But
started on Minesweeper.
dude, Minesweeper's a classic.
You
But
can-
anyway,
you figure out a little bit. You do a little bit of figuring out about that game, and it's a great game.
dude, you put the flags down on the bombs?
Oh, don't!
My
Oh
God.
my gosh! Don't even get me
Oh.
started.
But
Whew.
but no, listen, I just don't enjoy MMOs that much, and like, yeah, overall they're not that fun. But I will say, Fallout 76 has been an okay time for the I don't know, few hours I've been playing it this week, and it's only been a good time because I've been playing with Maddie and my brother. And we formed a little party, and the game still sucks. We tried to do some quests. None of us really liked them. We went exploring. That's the only good part of the Fallout game, is that the locations are still cool. So there is still like exploring that feels worth it to do. But then at the same time, there's no NPCs. So you get to some points where you feel like, or I mean, there are now, but they're just bad. But you get to some points where you feel like, oh, it'd be cool if there was an NPC here to give us a mission. And there's just a holotape on a table that says, read me. And you pick it up and listen to it. And then bam, you get a mission that way. But it just feels like there's such a huge disconnect between you and the story of the game, because you just don't feel part of it. There's no world for you to immerse yourself in when you're the only one in it, you know? And that's the weirdest thing, is Fallout 76 is somehow like an MMO and also a single player game all in one. And it's just because of the shitty way they built it.
It's tough. It's tough to be Bethesda, Caleb. That's all I can say.
It's really not, though. You just release Skyrim a bunch and you make money. Listen, Bethesda knows what they're doing. That's the problem. And that's why it's such a pain in the ass to see like games like ESO and Fallout 76 come out. Because even with those games which ESO wasn't necessarily a flop, but Fallout 76 was a pretty big flop for them. Doesn't fucking matter. Starfield's gonna come out and they're gonna make all their money back that they lost and then some, you know?
It's an interesting line to walk between wanting to support companies regardless of what they make and regardless of the flops that they have, versus continuing to give them your money when they don't necessarily deserve it.
Yeah, well, and the hard thing for me too is like, I don't know, I personally feel like there's a difference between buying a game and actually supporting a company. You know what I mean? Because like, there are, okay, like for instance, EA games, right? Notoriously EA games.
Yes.
So,
well, yeah, and that's kind of where I was going, was even though ESO and Fallout 76 were bummers, you want to reward companies for not being EA. in that way. You
Yeah.
want, because we don't want the industry to become just Call of Duty yearly, Assassin's Creed yearly, like just the same thing pumped out every single year.
I know, yeah. I think yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. There's a difference between just buying a game and like actually supporting the company, but even then, yeah, it's still challenging and like I don't know. It all kind of blows. But the only other thing I've been playing when I first talked about it, I had 20 something hours into Persona 5. Greg, I am up to 40 now.
Nice.
Solid
progress.
Solid progress. And I got to say, I'm not getting sick of it. Every now and then I get a little bit of Persona fatigue and I just play something else for a minute and then I think, well, this game doesn't have what Persona has, and then I go back to it. Because it's just, I've said it once, I'll say it again, Persona is such a mixed bag of everything. There's a little bit of everything. There's something for literally every type of gamer to enjoy in it. The biggest borders for getting into it are, like you mentioned, it's 100% a talking sim. There is so much dialogue you'll have to sit through and go through. The thing that made it more okay with me was I just had to think of it as like, okay, this is just like one of those little animus from when I was a child. And so like I'm thinking of it as like Naruto or Dragon Ball Z, where like, listen, it's a new episode, new things are happening, but we're going to hear the same dialogue over and over again because it over explains itself, just like every other anime and every other anime themed game, But moreover, I think for me personally, I feel like Persona manages to be a talking sim in a fun way, at least. Because it gives you dialogue options and it makes you feel like the main character. And it takes a while for it to set in, I think, but and I also do think you do need to be a somewhat specific person to want to play the game and enjoy it. Like if you've never played a game even remotely similar to Persona, I could absolutely see you not wanting to play it. But like, I don't know. I think there's something in the game for everyone, and I think if you can force yourself to get into it, I think you'll enjoy it. Like, yeah, like I said, I'm 40 hours in now, and honestly, I've made it's hard to say this now, but like, I've made some pretty good memories of playing this game. And not necessarily memories of like myself sitting on the couch, but memories of like the story points that I've seen, how far I've gotten in the story. Like I've seen some things that make me think, wow, that was really good storytelling from this game. And like, wow, they really surprised me with that and stuff. Yeah, the story doesn't feel half-assed at all. It feels pretty good. I did run into an issue. One thing that makes me rage quit games like this is for building relationships with other characters, which is kind of a requirement of the game. You build relationships with them and they give you new powers and stuff. But for building relationships with new characters and stuff, all of a sudden you're talking to some characters and then the stats you need to interact with them will just jump massively. There was a jump where it took me an hour and 20 minutes of doing some other things, but mostly just grinding out stats to be able to continue with what I was doing. Which is not fun. That is horse shit in all regards. But the game still also manages to make it feel like you're not just grinding out stats and instead you're doing other things. Like part of grinding out stats is going to work at a part-time job, where it's just kind of a cutscene you watch, but you gain stats and you gain money, which then you can use to go shopping, which can also increase your stats. So you are still doing things. It feels less like Pokemon going out and fighting, other little critters to boost your stats. Which that's the kind of stuff that I can't stand. So I was able to at least stick with this grinding and be a little more okay with it. I still think it's bullshit in all regards. But when the grinding was all said and done, one of the best parts of this game is interacting with the characters around you and seeing how like the relationships between them and your character grow, because you start the game without knowing any of these characters. Your character is new to the city and it's fitting because you're new to the game, right? So like you shouldn't know any of these characters yet. So you kind of meet them right when your character does, and then from then on, as the game goes, as your character gets to know them, you, the player, gets to know them, and like it's interesting. The game does a really good job with relationship building and like feeling like, oh shit, I know these characters now. Like these characters are my friends now, rather than like, I don't know, rather than like a Skyrim companion who you beat in a fist fight and then they say, okay, I'll follow you, you know? But
That's how we actually met, Caleb.
I think it is out in the fields.
Out in the fields, you beat me in a fist fight, and I said, "All right, you're stuck with me now."
Yeah, and I said, Greg, you took that like a champ. You've earned my respect.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then we were blood brothers from that point on.
Isn't that how all friendships happen?
Yeah, but that was my speed run of talking about my topics, because I wanted to mention all of the things I wrote down, but then it hit me as I was starting to talk about them that I wrote a lot. So that was my speed run fast talk of my topics.
Caleb, never feel like you need to speed run. What your points? They're all right in my book. I didn't know where I was going with that. I was like working on an off ramp there.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, I had one more thing, but I think I'm gonna leave a little cliffhanger here and talk about it next week.
Oh my god, you tease!
Mm-hmm. So what I will say is, for next week on the Pint and Click podcast, you're gonna hear me talk about a reversal in opinion that I had.
He's coming around, boys. He's coming around.
in Persona 5. It makes perfect sense for me to segue into it right now. I just don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, Caleb, we've I think we've satisfied our contract with the devil for the length of this podcast for the week.
I think we have too. I think our toes are safe for this week. Because last week we did both lose one.
We both lost. But for me, it was just the pinky toe.
Yeah, I made a mistake. I chose the big toe. That was a mistake. I need it. I need it for stabilization,
You were under too much pressure. You just like oh, I don't know.
He asked me fast, and I answered fast.
Yeah. So, Caleb, before we wrap it up this week, I do want to tell the listener of this podcast, you who's listening right now, that I've opened up a new email address. So you can tell us what you think about the games we talked about this week, or the movies in this case, or share your own game opinions, and we'll talk about it on the podcast. So the email address, if you want to reach out,
write it down.
Write it down. I'm not saying it twice. Is Greg, that's my name, at pintandclick.com. You send us an email there, and I will be sure that Caleb gets your message.
Absolutely. And, I just want to say this is a huge step up, because I know you guys have been pretty mad at us, because for the last couple months here, we've been having all of your emails and physical mail go directly to the field that we fought in. And, that's tough. So.
That's tough. The field that we fought in is also what we call the Wendy's.
It is. It was just a Wendy's. Middle of the city. Yeah.
Anyway, Caleb, thanks for talking to me this week, Caleb. Thanks for joining me on this podcast.
Greg, thank you for joining me on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Thank you for Wendy's for bringing us together.
If you enjoyed this podcast, tell the world, or at least maybe a friend you think would enjoy it.
And if you didn't enjoy this podcast, go out and get yourself a Wendy's 4 for $4 to feel better.
This episode's sponsored by Wendy's. Click your like button, your share button, your 5-star button. Leave a review on iTunes. iTunes doesn't exist anymore, but make sure to leave a review there.
Yep.
And Caleb, do you have any closing thoughts?
I don't. But does Norman read us? I like gravel. That's his time. Thank you, Norman. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Norman, and thank you, listeners, for joining us for what is episode 17 of the Pint and Click podcast.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.